Good evening and welcome once again to another live stream from a home in Italy. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's keeping really well. If it's your first time, then welcome. Where have you been all these years? If it's not your first time, well, welcome back. Tonight's stream is save and be prepared for your euro currency exchange. This is a really important one because it's something that that lots of people not overlook, but many people wait while the last minute to start thinking about how they're going to exchange their money, where the money goes to, what happens when we all go through the stages of finding a house, buying a house, fall in love, and all the rest of it, and then nobody actually thinks of how does it all work. And this is now where we get to tell you how it all works and what you should do. So that's what's happening tonight. So send us a message, tell us where you are in the world, let us know that people are watching, because at this moment in time I can't see anything. I've no idea how many listeners, so there could be 5,000 of you or there could just be 2 of you. So yeah, let us know. There's a few comments coming in now. That's nice. Facebook for some reason is always in a bit of a delay, but yeah, we can see YouTubers coming on. So any Facebookers that are watching, let us know that you're on there. Paul, Dave, you're killing me. She's on the warpath and you made her list. Yes, I know. And that wasn't the best news I wanted to give you, Paul, the other day, but we'll find you something. Don't worry. Yeah, let us know whereabouts you are in the world. And as I say, tonight in about 10 minutes, we've got a special guest coming on, Dave Nixon, who has been on here before. And I'm so glad. I want lots of people to watch this tonight, because, as I say, this is really, really important. So what else have we got on? Let me just change my my screen while Tony's doing what he's doing. And no doubt we're going to have some problems tonight because my camera was already freezing up. Paul saying, I'm kidding, Tony. Okay, well, there you go. Anyway, what have we got tonight? We've got the stunning photo of the week. It's back again. We've got the terrible what's it called? Sound effects. We've got Tony and Domenico, or Domenico and Tony's. I did get some photos from Tony, which straight after the show, he sent me an email. I know what you're saying. It's but that's him. You know, he likes to talk officially, saying that it was very, very unfair last week. That the tongue twisting trial was very long, and obviously is trying to get into Italian. He thought it was really unfair that we gave him such a long paragraph. So, out of fairness to him and to be fair to everybody, then we've decided to get rid of Tony. So he's no longer anymore, and he can no longer on the show anymore, and he can't complain. So there you go. Only joking. Of course not. We can't disappoint his 3 fans. No, 4 fans now, actually, because yeah, they've got the grandchild at home, and he's got his 2 sons and also his wife. So that's his 4. Does that add up to 4? I think it does. Anyway, so yeah, so this week I did say that I'm going to give him something a little bit easier. May not be so easy for you guys, but it is a little bit easier for Domenico and Tony. Obviously, Domenico will be on later in the show. What else have we got? Don't forget, if you're somebody's saying, Jamie's saying, nice hairdo. Do you like it? I was just actually thinking, I don't know if these lights, it seems to just get whiter. I don't know what that's all about. Is it because I'm nearing the 50? Did I mention that I'm 50 this year? 9th of August, all presents welcome. Anything you want to send from around the world. Yeah, so I'm going to be white shortly. I know that's my family genes. My dad is white. My granddad was white. We keep our hair, but it just goes white. So there you go. In fact, I may dye it after I'm 50. I might go blonde, something like that. What do you reckon, Tom? Blonde, black, green. That might be all right. Or part green, white. We could do the Italian flag. I've got the white already, so I just need the other bits. So what have we got? We've got stunning photo of the week. I've actually got 2 for you. A lot of people have sent photographs in, which is fantastic. Please keep them coming. I do like them, not just in Italy, but from around the world. Send us some photographs that you think are stunning, and we'll see if we can get you on stunning photo of the week. I have got a few. Today I'm going to show you 2. The first one is this one, that was sent by our very own. What did Lewis just say then, by the way? Tony, did Lewis put a sarcastic comment on? I thought it was oh no, so he's not. He's not saying anything to me. He normally mentions my hair. So this has come from Palombaro Patrick from his terrace. I reckon, Tony, I reckon this was taken when he got home from my house after the English football, after the England match. I'm sure it's around about this time when he managed to find his way home. So I reckon that. But what an amazing shot! That's from his terrace. So you can see Carsally. Why can't I haven't got a pointer? Where's my pointer not working? I don't know if you can see that, but that's Carsally there in the distance. And he's in Palombaro on this picture, and you basically drop down here, go around the back of Carsally, and straight down to the coast, which is roughly where that little reflection thing is there. So that's the first stunning photo of the week. So thank you very much to Palombaro Patrick. And then the second one is, I love this one as well. Thank you so much to Amy from Texas. Apparently these are Texas Longhorns. You could really take that another way, couldn't you? Or is that just my terrible, ridiculous mind? Texas, what a great picture. Amy, thank you so much for taking that picture. I actually, when I put this on earlier, I was showing Tony, and he said, "What is it?" I mean, is it not obvious, you know, what it is? But there you go. It took him a while for his brain to process. But what a fantastic photograph. So thank you very much, Amy and Patrick. You have both got the stunning photo of the week. What else have we got to say? Don't forget, if you are looking for rentals in Abruzzo, lots of people send me a message about this. Tony rocks. Troy, please, we need to have words with you. I think we need to ban Troy from the channel. And have you noticed that Tony, anybody puts nice comments about Tony, he always puts them up here. I'm sure he's definitely looking for more now. I can see him on a little screen sort of going down his way. Oh, it's the same message. It's the same. It's one of your 4 fans. 5 fans now with Troy. Ridiculous. Anyway, it completely put me off. Oh, yes. Rentals in Abruzzo. Remember to contact our friends. Contact Lewis, rentinabruzzo@gmail.com. If you're looking for rental properties here. I've had lots of requests recently saying they're thinking about coming over for a month, that kind of thing. Get in touch. But make sure you spell it right, though, because so many people don't get it right. You should know by now how to spell Abruzzo. People do double B's, 1 Z, 2 O's. Anyway, that's how you spell it. Rentinabruzzo@gmail.com. If you completely forget this address, then obviously I will just send an email to us, to info@homeanitaly.com, and I will make sure that we pass that on. Tony's lined up the autumn tour dates, but that's already gone. It's old news, Tony. We're nearly there. We're nearly for the autumn tour dates. Can you believe it? Time is just flying by. So really looking forward to the first one, kicking off in September. I'm looking forward very much to my long break before that, if I manage to get any long breaks. But there you go, in August. But September, can't wait to meet everybody on September tour. Then we have October and November, and then we'll be releasing dates, which will be the end of the last Thursday and Friday of January, March, April, and May. That's what it's looking like. But I'll let you know all about those probably at the beginning of August. Either the beginning of August or the beginning of September. We'll just see how things go. But really looking forward to meeting everybody that's coming in September, October, November. I will be in touch with September group at the end of this, so the end of next week, early the week after, and we'll get in touch and start the WhatsApp group and all things like that. I think that's me just about done. So you know what time it is. It's time for the first part of Tony and Domenico and Tony's tongue-twisting trials. So here he is everybody's favorite producer. How do I get him on?
Hey, I'm here.
Is that a bed behind you? Have you been kicked out of the bedroom?
Yeah, my grandson's sleeping on it.
Oh, yes, I
I
forgot.
only have one room. I'm just a poor little boy.
You could have twisted the camera around a bit further, but, you know, that's fine.
If I do that, I'll be in the wall.
That's not a bad thing. Anyway, are you ready? Before we bring our friend David Nixon on, let's and get onto the actual subject of why we do these things on a Tuesday night. I sometimes forget that there is actually content that we should be doing. Are you ready? Here's I've just sent Tony. Anybody that's wondering what on earth is going off, Tony is the bomb. No, Tony's the best. Have you finished? Will you concentrate on this? So anybody that's only just joined us and wondering what on earth's going off, and I thought it was an Italian property program, but it sort of is. But Tony is going to read out a phrase in his best Italian. It's a short one this week.
Yep.
And you guys have got to guess the film, but not until later in the show when Domenico comes on and does the same phrase in English. So Tony, in your best Italian,
Okay.
go for it.
Ok. Occhio per occhio e il mondo diventa cieco.
That was actually perfect.
Occhio per occhio.
That was actually perfect.
e il
I've
mondo
got to say that.
diventa cieco.
Do you want to say it one more time? I really like this phrase from this film as well. So go on, say it again.
Occhio per occhio e il mondo diventa cieco.
Pretty good, that. Let's not give him too much praise. He did well tonight, actually, on that one. So I think somebody might already get that, may already get it. Hopefully not. But don't forget, we're going to have Domenico coming on a little bit later, and he will be speaking in his best English, and then you can guess. Alex, Ali and Mike from California going to September 6th to Palombaro. Can't wait to meet you in person. Let me know when you're in town, Alex. So we better ban me, but Tony still rocks. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And we're going to get on with things. So let's get talking tonight. So we're getting prepared. We're talking about getting prepared for the euro currency, for when you actually do the currency exchange. And Tony, as I mentioned before, I can't see how many people are watching. So it's always nice if you can let me know every now and then. It just makes me realize I'm not talking to anybody. Oh, he's already given me the numbers now. There you go. Thank you very much. So yeah, we're going to introduce David. What I do want to say to everybody is there is a link at the bottom of the description of these. So in the description on YouTube, in the description on Facebook, there is a link. It is an affiliate link. I will be completely honest with you. What it doesn't do, it doesn't mean that you get charged more. It doesn't mean that you get sort of people add extra things on for it. What it does mean is I managed to pinch some of the commission from David so he can then basically, you know what these bankers are like. I know he's not a banker, but you know, they're all financial out there. So we're just taking a bit from them. So it's a bit like the Robin Hood story. So if you click on it's nothing like that. I'm only joking. But if you click on the affiliate link, it does really help us out as well. And what it also means is you get access to David himself, because he's obviously far too important to speak to anybody normally on the telephone, but he likes to speak to our clients. So on that note, let's bring him on. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good. Great to see you, David. How are you?
I'm really good. Did you like that introduction?
I did like this introduction. I'm also looking for some Tony Rocks merchandise that you could perhaps make some money from as well. I'll definitely be ordering some in time for Christmas for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually. Not a bad idea. Not really, though. Yeah. Anyway, how are you doing? You okay, David?
Yeah, good. Busy as always. I think the great thing about being involved in sort of currency exchange and international payments is things change all of the time. And when things change, that usually creates a lot of business and work for us. So I'm very happy to be in that position for sure.
I've not really noticed any instability or changes in the US at the moment. I don't know what you're talking about. I know you're based in Florida. Is there something happening this year?
Not at all. Someone keeps mentioning November to me. There's little bits of news here and there.
Making it for the England football. Should we mention that? We shouldn't really.
Yeah, no. Well, the only thing America needs to know is that soccer or football definitely did not come home. And for any of the fellow Brits on this call, it's probably best just to draw a line under that.
We'll leave it at that. And that's it. Let's start talking business. So anybody that's watching now, obviously you're based in the US, but you deal with anybody from all over the world and all the rest of it. First of all, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and then we'll get onto the nitty-gritty of tonight's conversation.
Yeah, so I'm from the northeast of the UK, which, as I always mention when I come on here, is the most trustworthy accent in the whole of the world. Lucky enough, I've managed to parlay that into a career, and I've been able to go to some very exotic places. So anybody that knows Newcastle very well knows the weather isn't very good. But thankfully, after university, when I was a young man in 2001, decided to go and live and work in Europe. and from there got the opportunity to live in Mexico, Argentina briefly, but now fully well implanted in the United States, where I am a citizen. Currencies Direct, we're involved in foreign exchange and international payments. So what we typically do as a business is we make partnerships with people like yourselves who have got lots of international clientele, and you find that they have a lot of pain points around transferring large sums of money in and out of different countries. And from that, if we're able to offer people good information, good advice, as well as to make sure that they avoid pitfalls in the process of transferring money. And the great thing about it is if we can help them save money along the way, you know, that hand holding, that private, that personal experience when it comes to moving large sums of money. I know for a fact, after working with many clients, that people do like it.
Yeah.
And they understand that we're all better connected. So if I know you, I know your notary, I know your clients, that from their point of view just makes sure that that transaction goes a lot smoother. And the great thing from your point of view as well is that you're also got visibility on that. So you can always reach out to me to find out what's happening with the payment, when it's going to be there. And I think that feeling of being better connected, helping our clients sort of connect the dots, really is a valuable proposition that we offer to your clients and anybody moving any money from anywhere in the world to pretty much any other country as well.
Definitely. I mean, I think, as I said, we'll go through how it all works and things like that. Now, you deal with different currencies, even if somebody's buying somewhere else, and whether they're from the US, the UK, Australia, wherever it is, you can deal with people. We'll come on to that shortly. When it comes to problems with the changing money direct from a bank to another bank, which should be easy, but the last few people, strangely enough, that have bought have done it through their bank. Whether it's because maybe they've not seen the webinars we do together, maybe they just thought, as lots of people do, no, I trust the bank, I've got to go to the bank. Couple of things I will say. First thing is, we've had a nightmare with 2 out of the 4. So for me, 50%. And I have not had any problems with transfers from you. And if there has been a hiccup of some type, it's been sorted out in no time at all. We've had, out of 4, we've had 2. And one of those 2 could have been a serious problem for these people. But what I do sometimes find, so what I want to touch on first, just to make sure people understand how safe it is people do worry about going to somebody like yourselves rather than a bank. So why shouldn't they? What is it? How are you registered? How do things work? Are people's money safe? That's what I want to start off on tonight. So how would you answer somebody that's saying, why should I come to you rather than a bank?
Yeah, great question. I mean, we also use the banking system for a start. So, for example, our major banking partner in the United States is JP Morgan Chase. These aren't small little regional banks. They're banks that everyone's heard of. In the UK, we use Barclays, for example. So, again, a huge bank that is known across the world. So our money is held with those particular banks. Now, the great thing about us compared to a bank is because we are not a bank, we're what we consider a money services business. Money that's held with Currencies Direct has to be insured in 100% of its form, as opposed to a bank in the United States. It's only regulated up to $240,000 US. In the UK, for example, it's £85,000. So with Currencies Direct, 100% of the funds, need to be insured. Also, we always tell people to check us out online. We've been in business since 1996. We are based in many places around the globe, so it offers you the opportunity to speak to Currencies Direct at any point during the day and night. And if you look at actually who owns us, people in the United States will be familiar with Blackstone, which is the largest private equity firm in the world. They back Currencies Direct, and they invested £150 million into our company, in the last 3 years. So from our point of view, we've got a very strong balance sheet. We're never using an individual's money to buy and sell currency. We've got enough of our own money where we can buy and sell our own money, which makes the transfers much faster. And I think you can a testament to that when you're asking where a payment should be. I can pretty much let you know when that's going to land and what time of day that money is going to arrive in Italy, for example. So in terms of visibility, where, you know, it's very difficult to speak to somebody at your bank, it's very difficult to speak to your bank about foreign currency exchange, and it's impossible to speak to your bank about whereabouts in the world the money is currently and what time it's going to land in a foreign country. So I think really when people look at the security element of what we do as a business, and not just Currencies Direct, pretty much any company in our industry, they'd be very, very impressed by the level of regulation across the world. So in the UK, the Financial Conduct Authority. Here in the United States, it's FinCEN, which is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. And they're just ensuring that what we do is legal and above board, and most importantly, safe for our clients to use.
Okay, so even though I don't really want to give Troy a question, but Tony's put him up, obviously his big fan, his biggest fan. I'm only joking, Troy. So just to explain, because obviously Troy is now thinking, do you have a bank you partner with in Canada? So obviously that Troy's got into his head, and many other people may think the same as well, that you're linked to a bank, so you do things with a bank, and why can't they just use the bank? And can you just say in basic layman's terms, for people that don't know how this works, what's the process? How does it work?
Yeah, so a client, for example, first of all, if you're a Canadian and you're wanting to buy euros, first of all, you want to know what the exchange rate is. So you would simply contact Currencies Direct over the telephone or online to find out what that exchange rate is. Now, you can buy euros with us without ever sending us money in advance. So, for example, you might want to buy 50,000 euros exactly to send to the notary in Italy. At that time, it would cost you X amount of Canadian dollars. If you agree to the exchange rate, then what we do is we expect you to send those funds to us within 3 to 4 days. So what happens in that instance is we've bought the euros. The euros are waiting, ready to be sent to the notary in Italy. And then as soon as you get the money to us, those funds are released. So in the case of Canada, we don't want you to walk into your Canadian bank and have to transfer any money anywhere else other than Canada, because that's when things get expensive. So in Canada, we use the Bank of Montreal. That's where our accounts are set up. So you're simply making a transfer of Canadian dollars to our Canadian dollar account in Canada. As soon as it's received, we've already bought and sold the Canadian dollar and bought the euro with our own money. As soon as we've got it, we make ourselves whole, and then we pay whoever you're paying out on the other side. So whether that's the notary, whether it's a builder, or whether you're transferring money to your own bank, that's how it works in terms of the speed element.
So they're doing a local transfer. They're not obviously changing it into euros, otherwise they'll get their bank's rate. So somebody rings you up and says, David, I need 50,000 euros. You would say it's going to cost you X amount of Canadian dollars or Australian dollars or UK pounds or wherever people are. And you would say, okay, to have 50,000 euros, you need to send me X amount in your currency. And then it's a local transfer. And then you deal with all the exchange and then send it onto the bank. And there's no cost to anybody for that.
Absolutely no cost whatsoever. So someone can open an account with us, never use us, but they can log in online just to check their exchange rate versus their Canadian banks, for example. So again, it's a worthy cause on that. And I know you've been through the registration process yourself. It's not too difficult.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? It's a very simple thing when you consider we're opening up a bank account that's going to allow you to transfer money anywhere in the world. I think it's a very easy process. So that's what we try to do, is we are very focused on our customer experience, and being focused on that one thing allows us to be really good at what we do.
So obviously people using the link that I've left in the comments that I've mentioned before, and there's links to you guys all over our website. I think it's pretty much on every page. That link will do. People can, if they from the States, I know there's some states that you can't look after at the moment, but that's hopefully going to change in the near future. I think you mentioned.
But like pretty much any week now, we're just waiting for the final. Hey, we're able to go. But in the US, we cover 70% of the population. But you find there's another 15 states with 30% of the population that we get lots of inquiries from directly from you as well.
Yeah.
If somebody does need to speak to us, and I spoke to a client of yours today, actually, if our solution isn't the best solution, we'll gladly point somebody else. We'll point them in the right direction. We'll give them good advice and information. That's the most important thing, is that the people that, come across us and ask us for information, we're going to give them the best information, irregardless of whether it ends up, somebody working with Currencies Direct. We'll help anybody regardless, and that's something that we're definitely able to do.
Yeah, again, that's why we work together. We've got a good working relationship. I trust you. I know you trust the people that come through us, and that's what it's all about. That's what we do this for, and that's why we choose you guys. Alex is just quickly saying, can we use David Nixon services to put our money for paying for our stay rental in Palomaro from the US, because US banks are charging us a bunch. So again, people will, just to explain to people, once they hopefully click on the link, if your state isn't in there, get in touch with us, get in touch with info@homeinitaly.com. There is another company that does similar to David. She's also a friend of yours, isn't she? So if at the moment, which I know it's going to change soon, so you're going to be able to look after everybody. But if somebody needs money urgent, then send us an email and we'll sort it. But when people go onto the link that's below, they click on that, they open the account, and how does it, once they've opened the actual account, is it like a wallet, if I remember rightly? How does it work? What can people do with that?
Yeah, so you get an opportunity to log in online. First of all, very simple. Online, you have a few options. One is to check the exchange rate. The other thing that you can do is check out the bank where you need to send the funds. You can find details to your individual bank account depending on which currency that you want. We give you 120 or so currency accounts. So no matter where you are in the world, there's an opportunity to send money to us. And then basically an opportunity to add recipients. So this is where you'd add the people that you want to pay. So if, for example, I saw somebody put in there, they wanted to pay their rent, what they could do is they could find out who they wanted to pay their rent to, find out the euro account number for that particular person, and we can make payments to them. Not only can we make payments to them, but we can put a reference on there. For example, your first name, your last name, your rental, your property address, everything, so that the person receiving the money can identify exactly who that money is from and who it's going for and what it's used for as well. So as long as an individual, you're on one side of the transaction can work. We can't pay third party to third party. So if Mr. Smith opens up an account, Mr. Smith has to either be sending us money or receiving money, or both sending and receiving money to themselves. But never ever can we use an account to pay to third parties, for example.
Okay. So a few people saying that they've been using for a long time. Barbara popped up there. I know she's been using you for a long time, and I know you've looked after so many of our clients, which is fantastic. So can you give real life comparisons of potential savings? Because this is a good question, Steve, because at the end of the day, once people understand how this works and they think, okay, I'm going to open an account, you're going to click the link below and it's free of charge as well. So you can open the account, have a nosy around. If it's not for you, then you can just close the account. But there's no reason why it's not for you. But if they're saying at the end of the day that if I'm saying that the banks took too long for my liking, but I know you're quick, people might say, well, okay, I'll just send it a little bit earlier. What could somebody potentially save? And I know somebody recently who did a transfer for 120, 130K, but even those that are sending 10, 20, 30, whatever, why again should they use you rather than a bank in terms of what are they going to save?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we can see this up close. Probably not. Yeah, but basically, this was a transaction that I did with my bank with Chase. I wanted to compare Currencies Direct with my own Chase bank account here in the United States. Now, this was pounds to euros, but in this case with Chase, $10,000 was buying 7,637 pounds, which is here. We can see that
just about.
Now, 2 minutes later, with Currencies Direct, the same $10,000 is buying $7,817. So on $10,000, that got me an extra £200 with Currencies Direct. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but also if you extrapolate that out to 100,000, then all of a sudden there's $2,000, which makes a lot of difference. And when you're talking about smaller stuff as well, like in the example of a gentleman I spoke to this morning, he's getting charged $40 just to send the transaction, and they're also taking the liberty of charging him €50 to receive it on the other side. Both things that wouldn't happen with Currencies Direct, because you're only making a domestic transfer on one side, and then from our point of view, we're actually just paying euros from a euro account. So there isn't the fee to accept the expensive wire transaction in Europe either. So it's not just the exchange rate, but that's where you'll see the biggest savings. It's also the wire fees that banks on both sides of the pond, or in the UK and in Italy, would charge as well.
Yeah, Inga's come up with a great question there. Can you just put that back on again, Tom, please? She's just saying, do we need to have a bank account in Italy to buy a house? I mean, first of all, you don't need to have a bank account in Italy, and especially using somebody like David. I mean, again, David, when people are buying properties over here, we give the instructions to the client gives the instruction to you, and you're sending money direct to the notary's account for these people, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, one thing that you'll find with banks, particularly in the United States, is if you're actually not physically present in the United States, it's really difficult to transfer money from a US bank. It's practically impossible. And those kind of nuances happen in nearly every different country that we're in as well. So it might not be any good if you've established an Italian bank account, you've sent 100,000 euros into it, and you're in the UK or you're in the United States in closing time, and you think, I can just jump online and wire that $100,000 to the notary. What you'll find is you probably can't, and therefore what you're going to have to do is fly to Italy, hopefully not next month where there's nobody working, and then you've of course then got to make that transfer from the branch, which again isn't always straightforward because there's minimum amounts that you can transfer, and that's a huge thing in Europe in particular. The UK, for example, some banks have a €10,000 a pound limit per day, which again is not ideal. So by getting your ducks in a row and planning earlier, you can basically learn about all these pitfalls beforehand so that you have a streamlined plan in order to make your payments when they need to be done, because timing is everything, not only with the exchange rate, but with the payment getting to the right place at the right time as well.
I mean, I can definitely. I mean, the last couple that I was telling you about, they got charged on both sides as well, and it was 50. It was actually €51 they got charged at this side. I don't know where the one comes from, but there you go. But yeah, it's already the exchange rate was not as good, and then they got charged at their side. I think they paid $40 odd or $50 odd, and then the same again at this side. It's it's ridiculous the amount of savings, but I think again it's just people getting to know who you are, what you do. And I know I've mentioned before that if people use the link below, they get direct access to you. And the great thing is, if somebody contacts me and said I've opened an account, I really could do with speaking to who was on the show, and I know you do it all the time, right? I'm always sending you WhatsApps, can you get back to this person? Can you? But again, that's the way you work, and that's the way I like to work. And between the two of us, it all works out perfect. But I think people just don't get the system, so they can hold it in. Let's say, for instance, I'll give you many examples of when we are involved in a sales process. So the house could be 90,000. The fees associated with that could be 10,000. I'm just throwing figures out here. Then people might think, when I'm probably going to need another couple of thousand for this, and then I want to get a new whatever, so maybe I want another 7 or 8 on that or whatever. They then look at the exchange rate now and they think exchange rate looks good. I mean, when they send you the money, have you got to send all of that money out, or can you hold on to some for them? I just want to quickly say, David, before you talk, we're getting some strange pixelations coming from your camera. So if anybody, I'm not sure why that is, but it seems to clear up now. Yeah, but just in case somebody was just joining and thinking, what on earth is that's talking? But you looked a bit like a robot at one point. But anyway, yeah. So if people are thinking, the exchange rate's great now, I've got the money now, but I only need 90 for the house, 10 for my expenses, but I know that I'm going to have some work done, so I'd like to send another 20. For those people, what happens?
Yeah, people can hold funds on account for as long as they like. So let's just say you're from the UK, you want to buy euros eventually. You can hold pounds on account with us if you're traveling and you want access to euros. If you want to buy your euros well in advance, perhaps you love today's exchange rate, you have the money now, you want to take a lot of worry out of the transaction, you can buy euros, you can hold it in euros, and then anytime before it needs to be sent to wherever it needs to go, you can simply call us up, pass a few security questions, and then we basically make that transaction for you. So the only negative is that when funds are on account with us, they don't accrue any interest whatsoever. But that would be, it wouldn't be any use for somebody who was perhaps planned 12 months out. But if you're, say, closing in the next 2 or 3 weeks and you want your euros there for, peace of mind, you can absolutely do that before you ever get the money out.
I mean, Scott, who obviously is a mutual client of ours, as soon as I mention somebody's name, Tony takes it off. Have you noticed that? Mutual client of ours that bought in Predza. The exchange rate with Currencies Direct is better than the exchange rate from other banks. I keep a US dollar wallet and convert to euro as needed, or when the US dollar gains value, things like that. So, I mean, it is a great system that people, and their money is protected, isn't it? As you say, their money is 100% protected. And they can, once everybody's got an account set up, they know they're going to do this, and they can just hold money with you and send money to. So if somebody wants to send 90 to the notary, 10 to us, 10 to a builder, 5 to you can literally set, and they don't get charged for that.
No charge whatsoever. So really great.
So everybody is sat there now saying, right, okay, so you can beat the bank rates. You're not going to charge us for doing anything. We're going to get it there really quickly, which I can definitely say. If David tells me some days it's the same day, but if you say to me that money will be there tomorrow, then that money is always there tomorrow. So you're doing all these things great. So how do you guys get paid?
Yeah, so we're not really, I'm going to say, bothered about small transactions where you might want to send 200-300 euros here, there, and everywhere, because in our business, we wouldn't make any money doing that. We make money when we exchange large sums of money, which is why primarily Currencies Direct is invested in growing our business within the sort of real estate sphere, because real estate transactions are often large. I know some of the houses that you advertise are, lower value in some instances, like 50, 60, 70,000 euros. But you also get the odd client that needs to transfer 500,000 or sometimes 1 million. And when we collect all of those property transactions together, we're left with a huge sum of money. Now, if we make just a tiny percentage on that in terms of the business, we've got a good business compared to, say, for example, a bank, where again, they're making huge amounts of money anytime you exchange money. So I like to think that if you view us as a wholesaler versus a retailer, that's pretty much the difference between a business like ours and the bank. And just to give you some stats I was telling you about before, I think we've worked together for just over 2 years now. We have 215 clients that are using our services because of these videos, and I think we've transacted nearly 10 million US dollars. So in terms of like what we do, it's kind of tried and tested, if you like. And I'm not saying it's for everybody. Somebody might have a great relationship with their bank. They might just not be tech savvy at all. Some people just don't like speaking to any human beings either, right? So, it's not for everybody, but I would say the vast majority of people fall into the bucket where, they're grateful to be a client at Currencies Direct, and we love to be able to help them because, we're helping people with a very unusual transaction in their life. Not many people are sending $100,000, pounds, euros to another country to buy a property many times in their lifespan. So therefore, it's a very unique case. And if you need a little bit of hand-holding throughout the process, I think that's why people really, prefer our service versus a bank, for example.
So Steve is saying the big Q is, do they use the middle course, and what is the window between buy and sell in a currency? So I'm presuming, again, we're trying to elaborate a little bit more on how you make them. So we understand you take a little bit. So where just to if you can explain what the interbank transfer rate is, and then just explain where you actually make your money.
Yeah. So, for example, right now, if I'm or before we came on here, the mid market rate for US dollar into pounds into euros was 0.9221. On that particular rate, Currencies Direct would be around 0.9175, and it's that difference. That's where we're making our money. And again, last year we transferred over $12 billion worth of currency, and if we're only making a tiny little percentage, then we're still doing very well. But that's the absolute difference, is the difference between what you see as the mid-market rate or interbank rate and the rate that we charge. We're not actually getting interbank rate as a company either, and like I said, as we're buying and selling over $12 billion, right? But the rate that we get is certainly better than an individual walking into their bank to transfer $50,000 as a one-off, which again is when you look at that wholesale versus retail example. I think that's probably the best way to frame it.
Okay. Alex is just saying, can we have his email? The server says busy.
Yeah.
The server says busy, but I mean, we will, Amy, if you want to, do you want to give out your email address, David, or we can?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's as it appears on the screen, David period or .Nixon at currenciesdirect.com. So I say it like that, so it's currencies IES and not YS.
Okay.
So
for some reason I can't write on my on my own chat thing tonight, but there you go. So it's David. So just if you just say it again.
Yeah, David.Nixon at currenciesdirect.com, or if you if the people in the UK, that was the name of a famous magician back in the 70s, so they'll know the name. And then Nixon is the US president, so there we go. Nobody should be getting that wrong.
Perfect. But if for any reason anybody can't get in touch, go onto our website, hominity.com. There's millions of links on there. Not sure if the link, it should be working. I'm sure I tested it earlier, but I will check that out later. But if anybody has any problems connecting to the link that's on YouTube, Tony, I don't know if you can have a quick look at that on another device and just see if it's working or not. Just go onto our website. There's lots of links there, or email us at info@hominity.com. And as I said, when it comes to talking to you personally, David, I know lots of time people will then send me an email and say, can I speak to David? And then I'll pass your WhatsApp on. And I know you love things like that. I love to do it about 3 o'clock in the morning for you. Tony's pointing at something now. I don't know what he's trying to tell me. He's trying to tell me something, Tony. No.
That's it. Oh, except no dot between currencies and direct. There you go.
Okay. There you go. Okay, perfect. Adam is saying that the link is working, so hopefully, hopefully it's just a one-off. Okay, so let's just talk about just quickly before we move on to one of the products that you offer that I think is fantastic. So we understand now how you make the money. We understand that we mere mortals don't get the interbank transfer rate. However, there are some cards on the market. I know you've got some, I've got some. Yeah. So when we're talking small amounts, obviously sometimes you can get almost the interbank rate. But when it comes to sending lots of money over, in my personal opinion, I can't do. I need to go to speak to somebody if I'm sending a lot of money over. And I know there's lots of charges once you start going over certain amounts on these cards, which is why, again, if my thing for dealing with somebody like you, your company, is you've got experts there that know. I know you don't know what's going to happen, but you've got a good insight into how things are. And don't worry, I'm not going to try and pin you onto, even though Anthony's predictions from Christmas, I was actually watching it earlier. His predictions were for when he spoke at last Christmas were very, very good. In fact, I'm going to put Anthony forward for president. Sorry, we're not getting it. Anyway.
No, he'll win.
But obviously they're dealing with professional. We're dealing with yourself rather than us sat there thinking, oh, the rate looks good, but we've no idea if round the corner there's going to be good news, bad news, whatever it is. So obviously, rather than us, do we get access to speak to people such as Anthony? How does that work? So if I'm not ready yet, but I just want some advice, they may speak to you to start with to understand how it works. What do those people do that are sitting there thinking, should I, shouldn't I? What can they do?
Yeah, so every single account holder gets a designated account manager. So that's somebody that we basically chain to their desk. We like put them behind 4 screens full of data, and they are yours to use and abuse, for want of a better phrase. So if you want to speak to them about half an hour about, European elections, for example, or interest rates coming out of the Fed and what it might do to change the market, you can absolutely talk to them about that. I think from our point of view is we don't offer information because most often we would end up with egg on our face, and we just don't want to be put in a position to make decisions on your behalf. But what we can do is kind of arm you with the sort of like historical exchange rates, what's happened when this has happened, and what might we expect. And if you're worried about anything else happening in the future, for example, US elections, we've got 2 wars that are ongoing, we've got a new leader in the UK, for example, which has affected the pound already, as well as when anything typically bad happens around the world, the US dollar is typically used as a safe haven. So that kind of information we can talk to you about, and we can offer you, information and, like I said, products, or like you said, products to help mitigate some of the risk in terms of exchange rate volatility between now and when you're perhaps thinking about buying a property, for example.
Okay, I do want to bring on shortly before I would like for people to get to know Tina. I know she sort of helps people in the early stages and setting up an account, so it's always nice to put a face to a name. And obviously Anthony, I think you said, is working out at the office at the moment. Next time we'll grab him on as well. Before we ask you to call Tina just to say hello to everybody, the product that I think is fantastic, and please explain how it works. But if let's say I'm definitely going to buy a house in Italy, and I'm thinking to myself, or a house wherever it may be, and I'm thinking I'm definitely going to get that, but I don't get my money for another month or 2 months. The exchange is brilliant now. Why couldn't I have this money? Because the exchange has never been as good, but I haven't got the money, and it's such a shame because it's going to go down again, and I'm going to lose thousands again. What can you offer people that are thinking like that?
Yeah, definitely. So what we offer, which we've done really well with, like US buying in the euro, for example, is something called a forward contract. Now that means that, let's just say you're not looking to purchase a property for, say, 10 months or so, but you love today's exchange rate and you want to get your euros bought. What we do is we offer today's rate for a 10% deposit. And so let's just say you want to buy $100,000 worth of euro. You would send us $10,000 today. That would lock in the rate. So the other $90,000 you can keep exactly where it is right now. So whether you've got that in your money markets, for example, or perhaps you've got it in a high yield interest account, for example, that means your money can still be there doing work for you, but you've used 10% of your money to kind of hedge against what the market may or may not do, because things do get quite volatile, particularly in the span of like a year. I was just looking at this time last year, for example, the rate for US dollar into euro is 0.89. In October, all of a sudden, it went up to 0.92. And ironically, today, it's around exactly the same rate as it was 10 months ago. But in between, it's gone up and down and up and down, and you can follow that around. So if you get to a point where you've found a property, or you found a budget, you kind of found properties within a budget you're looking for, you don't want to miss out on those properties, but you're maybe not ready to buy right away. You can buy your euros up front. In terms of have them there bought for you, and then when you're ready to fulfill that contract, you can send us the rest of the money, and it's there for you. So that's been used, I would say, out of the 212 clients by about 20 of your clients.
Right.
And I think most often they've been quite relieved for it, because especially when we started out, we were up in the early echelons of €1 was like, I think it was $1.04, which was just what we call the glory days around here, because it was just unheard of. And like I said, the amount of people that took advantage of that rate, despite not having their money ready now, those people are obviously done very, very well for themselves.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant system, as you said, because it's so stressful. I remember when we were transferring funds over, and you're looking at the rate every day, and you think, if I'd have just waited one more day, I would have had this much more. And I think I was still doing it about 6 months after we bought. I don't know if that was the Yorkshireman in me that
no,
every day I was
that's a very
thinking,
that's a very human experience for sure.
But it's such a good thing to think. And as well, it takes some of the stress out of it, because you know what your budget is then, don't you? If it's a good exchange rate now, it could go the wrong way and it could get better, but you could get a nasty surprise, and all of a sudden a shift on a few cents and you're talking thousands, aren't you? Which is
yeah.
Sometimes it's better to lock it in and just think, that's it, I'm happy with that, let's go ahead. At least I've done that job. It's sat in my Currencies Direct wallet, waiting for Dave from home in it to contact me and say, send it here and send it there. And that's
definitely
how it works.
Especially when you can get 4% in an interest account now on a large sum of money. It's silly just to have it just sitting there doing nothing with Currencies Direct, for example. You may as well take advantage of, keeping your money and making your own money from your own money, like you should be, but then also making sure that you've really hedged against, some negative volatility affecting the value of whichever currency you're holding at the time.
Great. Brad, Bomber Brad has said, my hair has gotten a lot grayer watching the exchange rate on a daily basis. So Brad's going to be a client of yours very soon. So Brad, you need to get some hair dye or talk to David at Currencies Direct. Brad's going to be a good future Meet the Home buyer, because we're having a little bit of stress at the moment with his sale, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there in the end. End time limit to forward contract. That's been a question. So if somebody does say, Dave, okay, I'm not ready next year, but I like the sound of this, I want to block in my 10 grand. How long can you hold the funds for?
It's rare, but up to 24 months. Typically, the average forward contract is about 10 to 12 months, but you can extend that to 24 months if you wish. Just on that, the exchange rate you get probably won't be as good for a 24-month forward as it would be for a 12-month forward, for example. Just because we're paying what we call interest rate differential, because basically, in effect, we're loaning you the money, but it's obviously a very, very strong indication. So let's just say you drop off the face of the earth. We simply sell the euros that we bought for you back into the currency that you told us you were going to send us, and then we've got the 10% deposit then to basically you know what I mean, to make it right if we're short. And sometimes we're not even any short, and the person gets their money all the way back. But most often, a forward contract is good value for money, for sure.
Yeah. And Elizabeth is saying, and I'm glad she's mentioned the name, because I don't know it. So Wise charges less fees than banks. And I agree with that. But what I wouldn't do is personally, I wouldn't want just an app where I can't speak to anybody. And first of all, there are charges there, even though it looks like there are no charges. I think companies like that and other cards, I have them myself, are fantastic when you're going on holiday and you may be spending 500, 1,000, maybe a couple of thousand. But when you're talking about sending over large sums, and there have been some horror stories. There have been some horror. I'm not saying, that's an unfortunate block in my camera. Sorry, I will come back. There's a problem with my camera.
Better, David. It looks better. It looks a lot better.
I look pretty good, don't I? But yeah, it's sort of, and I've known some people's money only for overnight, but suddenly their app said they've got no money, and it was like, oh my god, what's happened? There must have been some sort of glitch, and that kind of thing. But for me, I need that peace of mind that there's somebody I can speak to should there be a problem.
I think the third party thing, that when you're paying third party, sometimes that causes delays with these companies, because if they don't know exactly who that third party is, they're probably going to block it. And unfortunately, they don't have the manpower. They've got, for example, probably 10 times the amount of clients that we have, except our clients transfer larger sums of money than they do. So it's 6 and 2 3s, if you like. But just in the instance, we had somebody who was paying, I think your wife for some services that she did, and our compliance department came back and said, "Who is this? you remember.
Yeah.
And I was like, it says that this person was in a movie or is in the movie business. Why are they getting money for a property?
she was a fashion designer in the UK, and she was part of a costume design set for a program. And when you rang up and told me that, I was like,
Yeah.
why wasn't I flagged up as an ex-rock star?
Well, I don't know. Maybe
She
she was on IMD, wasn't she? She was on the movie, the website.
I'm somewhere on there. I'm sure I am, but she got it and I didn't. No recognition.
Yeah.
In fact, I want compliance. Next time I make a transfer with you, I want compliance to send me an email saying we have you down as a rock star.
But in that instance, I reach out to you and say, hey, there's a delay. This is the delay. Yeah. Oh, and you're like, well, that's my wife. She's this or that, right? All of a sudden, I get back to my compliance team and I say, that's the reason. They're like, ha, 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 that's good. Let's release the payment, for example. That checks out. As opposed to if it's a bank like an online bank that you mentioned, for example, before, they don't have the facility to reach out to you directly and find out that information. Yeah. And that delay could be, paramount between property closing and not closing on time.
And especially if you've signed a contract where you're agreeing to buy a property within a certain time, that's okay, David. Well, Domenico is going to be coming on shortly. So before he does, can we get Tina in just to come and say hello to everybody? We like to embarrass her as well every now and then.
Here we go. So we'll bring her in from the back room.
She loves it when we put her on the spot. She loves it. Hi, Tina.
How are you? Good to see you.
And you as well. You keeping well?
Yes, I am. How about yourself?
Really good. Thank you very much. Really good. So just tell all these lovely people that are watching at the moment what your role in, because obviously the vast majority will probably speak to you. So what happens? What do you do for everybody?
Sure. Yeah. So I assist in onboarding clients with their free accounts. And just really here to answer any questions. It's a very easy process. However, I'm here to speak through the process, assist in any way that I can. It's pretty streamlined. I want to make it as streamlined for you as possible. So really here to assist getting your account open and ready to go.
Now she does. She's got a big promotion coming up, David. She's been working very, very hard. So congratulations to her on that.
Congratulations. She's finally going above you then, hopefully.
Yes, she is. But we get it to, for example, review all the documents that people send in. So have you got any tips for people sending in documents? Because that's always, we have some horrors.
So our compliance team are very particular. Make sure proof of ID, proof of address, documents are complete copies, legible, visible, no corners turned over, not in an envelope. Okay. Just has to be a complete document. So compliance can easily review. But usually it's a pretty quick process within an hour or so. Typically, once everything's submitted, they'll review. It's usually me that'll come back if they were to have any questions or anything.
Excellent. And I know obviously you're based in the States, but anybody sat in the UK, sat in Australia, sat wherever, actually it works out better in the UK because people can speak to you in the evening time when they've finished work. But from you're speaking to people from all over the world, I'm presuming, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have teams, like you mentioned, all over the world. But yeah,
you deal with the majority of our clients, should we say?
Yeah, I wrote down the names of the countries that your clients are from. The 215: US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Saudi Arabia, Norway, Sweden, UK, South Africa. So this little YouTube channel has it's reached all corners of the world. I think it's a really impressive thing.
And we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep sending more to you guys, even though I've just frozen once again. But that's the idea. We're going to get these people in Italian properties, but also make it clear to everybody that it doesn't matter where they're buying it. If they're not buying in Italy, they could be buying in the UK. They could be buying wherever. They could be buying in the US. It could be an Italian watching this and wanted to. You can help all of these people, can't you? At the end of the day.
Absolutely, we can. Fantastic. Before I walked in here, I saw probably 5 or 6 already starting to fill out the registration.
Already filling out the form. That's fantastic. Hopefully everybody's going to keep on doing that. Okay, well, I can see Domenico is joining us for our little crazy moments of of what we like to do on these shows. In fact, do you want to hang around? I won't keep if you're busy, Tina. Then I won't keep you from your work. But thank you so much for coming and saying hello. Anyway, I really appreciate it, and we'll see you.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck with
take
promotion. You definitely deserve it.
Bye-bye.
Okay, David, are you going to hang around for 2 minutes? We'll just bring.
I want to find out who I want to hear. I love this segment of the show.
It's your favorite part of the show, is it? Okay, well, let's bring Domenico un attimo solo. I can see him on a little screen now. Let's bring Tony on first again. And let's Tony, can we get rid of the ticker at the bottom? Because it's a bit annoying.
I'll do it.
You're going to do it. Now, this might take a while, everybody. We'll just sit here waiting for you, Tony. It's all right. He's only got to press one button. See, that's the face I have to look at all the way through the webinar. I've got him on a little screen. Okay, Domenico, buonasera.
Hey, Dame.
Ciao.
Somebody sensible.
Good morning, good evening.
Tutto bene?
Sì.
Allora, questo è David da quel compagnia di cambio. So I've just introduced David to him.
Il famoso Dave della compagnia di cambio.
Esatto. So you're saying you're the famous David of the exchange company. So
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Encantado.
Okay, so are we ready? Tony, are you going to do it one more time? We're going to. Right, so let's do Tony first. In fact, I haven't sent Domenico his yet. Io ti mando quel messaggio adesso, Domenico, un attimo. Tony, so in your best Italian.
My best Italian. Okay, here we go. Occhio per occhio e il mondo diventa cieco. Occhio per occhio e il mondo diventa cieco.
Domenico, com'è andato?
Benissimo, Tony. Number one.
Conosci il film? Lo sai qual è questa frase?
No.
No? So he doesn't know the phrase. So he didn't do it that well, Tom. Ok, Domenico, ti ho mandato. Devi studiare.
Sì, aspetta.
Okay, so everybody now has got to listen to Domenico saying this phrase in English, and then you can guess. And we're going to see who was the winner on YouTube and Facebook. So listen carefully, everybody. Ok, Domenico, vai.
Oddio. Han hey for han hey, holy hands up, making the well word blink.
That's a little bit different. I'm just going to help Domenico just a little bit. If somebody gets this, then Domenico, si pronuncia an I.
Han high. Okay.
Somebody's got it. Josh has got it.
Who was?
C'è qualcuno che Josh and Ali. Josh was definitely the first. Gandhi. That's correct. I can't believe it.
La pronuncia che fa la differenza.
David, I can't believe even you didn't get that. Domenico, un'altra volta in inglese.
Hen hey for...
aspetta un attimo. I.
High. Hen high for han high. Holy hands up, making the wall word
blind.
Blind.
Perfect. It did well, everybody, didn't it? So it was an eye for an eye, only ends up making the whole world blind. There you go. What a great one to finish on. Domenico, bravo. Tony, useless as usual.
As expected. Well done, Dommy.
Grazie, Domenico. Ci sentiamo domani.
Sì, ciao.
Buonasera. Tom, thank you.
Say, Dave. Hey, David.
Oh, I've got rid of the wrong one. Sorry about that. Okay, mate. There you go. That's added a bit of Italian fun. In fact, you can join in the next one. We've got Tony Awesome. I didn't see anybody on Facebook, by the way. We haven't got a Facebook winner tonight. Oh, well, I'm sure somebody will come up with it shortly. David, thank you so much for joining us. All jokes aside, serious things we've been talking about tonight, but it is important, isn't it? Important that everybody gets everything in line. And if they just want to speak to you, even if they don't open an account with you, you're more than happy to do that. And you would just, if the contact us at info@ahomeiniitaly.com. But I would strongly urge everybody to go onto that link fill the form out. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no obligation to do any trades with you or anything. They just open an account and then they're ready, and then they can decide for themselves whether or not they want to continue to do business with you. But I will say, and I'm not just saying it because you're here. Obviously, we work together for a reason. We have done for a while, and we'll hopefully continue to do so for years and years to come. But everybody who has used your services, or I'm going to say 99.9, because I can't really say 100%, just in case you mess up on one soon. 99.9% of our clients have had a fantastic experience. And I will say, from this side, the speed that you get things here, and when it becomes close to the contract and there's already stresses around and everybody's worried of everything, the last thing that we want to do is be sat there thinking, well, all the contract's ready, everything's done, but there's no money here. And you guys make it extremely smooth. I've got to say that, because we work together constantly, even though we don't speak to each other all the time. It's all about, we see the money coming in and going, and that's what it's all about when people are buying properties. So thank you for that. Thank you for looking after our clients, and
of course,
and long may it continue.
Thank you.
So we'll see you again probably next month, something like that. We're doing it when it's August time, actually. No, so we go to sleep for a month. Even though I'm going to still be doing these Tuesday nights, but we'll see you again really, really soon.
For a US election special. How about that?
We could do a special US. We could stay up all night like they do on the news channel. I'm sure people would rather listen to us than listen to that rubbish on the TV. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. That's a completely different thing. Thanks a lot, David. Really appreciate it, mate. We'll speak to you really, really soon.
Perfect. Namaste.
Okay, folks, how was that? What a great guy. He's fantastic. Elizabeth, that was hilarious. Free Italian lessons and financial lessons. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As I say, go onto that link, click it, and fill out the form that's on there. It's all easy to set up the account. If you never use it, you don't use it, but I'm sure you're going to see the benefits of it. I really am convinced that it makes life so much easier. Josh, well done for guessing for guessing tonight's tongue twisting trial. Very good. Don't know if anybody came on Facebook, Tony. I can't see. Facebook's always delayed slightly, but there you go. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again next Tuesday. I think it's going to be probably a Meet the Home Buyer next Tuesday, so we'll advertise in the usual way, and look out, obviously, for Saturday's property video. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you again next week.